Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We now know the identity of the 17-year-old who died inside an NDSU dorm room over the weekend. Devin Delaney, a senior at Burnsville High School, was visiting friends at NDSU. On Sunday, around noon, campus police were called to a freshman dorm for a report of an unconscious person. Emergency crews tried to save Delaney's life, but couldn't. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson has more about who the teenager was and how he may have died.
A hockey player since he was very little, a bright young man known for making people smile. Devin Delaney had a very promising life ahead of him, according to family, friends, teammates, and those he went to school with.
He was such a positive kid. He always brightened anyone's day. He brightened up every room he walked into, and he was just such a positive kid, and he was going to be remembered mostly for his positivity. He
was also a lacrosse player for Burnsville High School, where he's leaving many with a heavy heart.
He was really sweet, everyone got along with him, and I feel like he was a good kid all around.
While visiting friends at North Dakota State University, we're told Delaney was staying here at Severinsen Hall, a freshman dorm, where he was found unresponsive on Sunday and died.
And they had the corner van here, so I was pretty freaking out.
Authorities aren't saying what caused his death, but multiple students tell us he'd been drinking with a group of friends.
My friend was bonding with the guy who died about lacrosse, and his friends and all of him, where they seemed a little bit, but I wasn't, it wasn't my business.
Yeah, you tend to see a lot of people here that they shouldn't definitely not be here because they're over intoxicated.
Freshmen who live in the dorm tell us during the first couple of weeks on campus, multiple students needed medical attention for drinking too much.
It's definitely a little bit worrisome, but I think people just have to be careful and know their surroundings and who they're around.
Authorities investigating Delaney's death and NDSU declined to answer our questions and aren't saying how he died. Regardless, his friends, classmates, and family are devastated.
Sad that, that person had family and friends that will no longer be able to talk with them or spend time with them.
In Fargo, Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
Burnsville High School had a remembrance for him last night on the football field, and today they were offering support for students in one of their classrooms. Last week, we told you about an upcoming construction project that officials were saying had the potential to cause serious issues, not just in West Fargo, but also on I-94. And now we're getting our first look at what the impact of the first phase of construction is at Cheyenne Street. This is a live look at the first phase. Again, Cheyenne Street, the project is under its first rush hour test. Crews are working to construct an overpass bridge that will serve as an alternate route while they work to widen Cheyenne Street. That work isn't set to be finished until 2019. Cooler than average today. Not a lot going on, but that will change later this week. For right now, let's talk about this evening. Hutch, what's going on?
Well, right now, most of us are quiet. It's a breezy day, and we do have a few showers showing up in north central portions of Minnesota near Lake of the Woods. Once again, the rest of the region fairly quiet, albeit cloudy in much of western Minnesota and portions of the Red River Valley, including the FM area. Lake of the Woods seeing showers right now, as is Roseau County. Nothing too heavy, but there will be a chance of this to continue through the evening. We'll slip through the 60s this evening. It will remain breezy after sunset. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a break from the wind. Likewise in Grand Forks, we're on our way to the 50s as we head into the late night storms. There is a potential for large hail, damaging wind, and even a few tornadoes. I'll have the very latest on what you can expect here in just a few minutes.
There's that sign that summer's not over yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
yes.
Thanks, Hutch. The Cass County Sheriff's Department is looking for a man who apparently broke into a home near Bacchus, Minnesota. On Saturday, police got a report of an intruder at a home in Pine River Township. Police say the homeowner fired at the intruder, which caused him to run away with unknown injuries. Police are looking for a heavy-set white male. He's about 6 feet 5 inches tall and was wearing all black clothing. If you have any information, you're asked to call Minnesota's Cass County Sheriff Office at 218-547-1424. The Fargo Police Department is investigating an apparent robbery that happened at a Southside motel. It was reported around 1 a.m. at the Baymont Inn at I-94 and South University Drive. The victim was hurt and taken to the hospital for treatment, but police say his injuries are not serious. They're still trying to figure out exactly what happened, but say the victim and possibly two suspects did not know each other. Police do not yet have a description of the people they're looking for. Detroit Lakes Police posted 2 photos on their Facebook page today asking for the public's help identifying a woman who could be involved in a theft case. They ask that if you recognize the female in these photos, contact Sergeant Strand at 218-846-3204. Investigators in Crystal, Minnesota are pursuing charges against a group of teenagers who attacked a physically disabled young man and then posted video of the incident on Facebook. The attack took place Saturday outside the Target store on West Broadway. The video shows a group of young people beginning to taunt the man using expletives to belittle and mock him. When the man turns and tries to get away, one of the teenagers runs up behind the victim, kicking him in the back, sending him crashing to the cement. You can hear the attacker and other teens in the group laughing as the man shouts out in pain. The Crystal Police Department says one 16-year-old has been arrested, and they're interviewing 3 other suspects in that case. On the eve of his first speech before the United Nations General Assembly, President Trump visited the UN today. He led a meeting to discuss reforming the international organization, one he has labeled as weak and incompetent in the past. He's also discussing nuclear threats from Iran and North Korea. Meg Oliver has more from the United Nations in New York.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
President Trump refused to say whether he'll pull the U.S. out of the Iran nuclear deal during a photo op with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
You'll see very soon.
Earlier, he pressed world leaders to support sweeping changes to the United Nations.
In recent years, the United Nations has not reached its full potential because of bureaucracy and mismanagement.
The president also said it's unfair for any one nation to carry a disproportionate share of the load. The U.S. is the UN's largest contributor, paying at least 25% of the operating budget and 28% for peacekeeping forces.
We also ask that every peacekeeping mission have clearly defined goals.
So far, about 120 of the UN's 193 nations are on board.
This is an opportunity for all of us to seize this moment and ensure that the United Nations remains relevant.
President Trump delivers his first speech to the General Assembly tomorrow. He's expected to promote his America First agenda and discuss global terrorism, Iran, and the North Korean nuclear crisis. During a morning phone call, the White House says Mr. Trump and China's president committed to maximizing pressure on North Korea to halt its nuclear program. Later, during a meeting with France's Emmanuel Macron, President Trump said he was considering throwing a military parade on July 4th after watching France's Bastille Day parade. Meg Oliver, CBS News, the United Nations.
The presidents of China and Russia, North Korea's primary trade partners, are not attending events at the UN this week. President Trump has urged both leaders to use their influence to convince Pyongyang to stand down. Dozens of immigration activists interrupted House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi's news conference today in San Francisco, accusing her and Democrats of using Dreamers as bargaining chips. The California Congresswoman was speaking about DACA legislation at the time. The protests come in the wake of President Trump's announcement that he will end DACA in 6 months. The protesters say they want a clean bill without legislation attached regarding border security.
And we want comprehensive immigration. I'd rather have that, of course, than just one piece of it, the Dream Bill. But we don't have that opportunity right now.
We don't need to fight only for DACA recipients, that we need to be here for all 11 million undocumented people in the United States and the 3 million people who have already been deported.
Last week, Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer met with the president to discuss a deal to extend the DACA program. There's a new fee at the airport that's catching travelers by surprise, the expense that you'll want to be aware of. Up next.
You're watching Valley News Live on TV.